Episode 1. A new democratic nation formed, the Kingdom of Patria. Their united country gets divided by somnum, an energy resource. They became the North and South City and start a civil war. The South outnumbers the North until the North creates a team of weapons that can shift shape into beasts to fight humans. They are called the Incarnate, and a doctor named Elaine created them. The team of Incarnates is led by Hank and Kane. Their team defeats the Southern stronghold, and Hank is also in love with Elaine. One day during one of their battles, a member of their team couldn't change back into a human. He turned on them and killed some of them. They killed the beast, and they bury their losses, but promise themselves that if they return, they will be killed. Before their last battle, Hank tells his team that he will marry Elaine after the battle. However, Elaine announces to him that the government is signing a peace pact with the South, and the war is ending soon. She shoots him and tells him all the Incarnates will become monsters after the war, so she has to kill them all. And Hank won't allow it, so she is killing him first. She gives Kane the remaining bullets to kill the other Incarnates, but Kane kills her. 2 months later, Hank wakes from a coma and discovers Elaine is missing, and the Incarnates are now monsters, destroying the city after the war ends. He asks for Kane, but the soldier Lisa tells him Kane is nowhere to be found. Episode 2. At an orphanage at Bancroft, the leader, Will, leads it with his daughter, Shawl. One day, he leaves for war, and he returns as a beast. His family accepts him back. However, every night, the villagers hear noises and cows are dying. They suspect that it's Will and ask to chain him. They take the orphans away for their safety, but Shawl remains with her father. One night she hears a noise, and she sees Hank on her father and finds him dead. She takes a gun to find Hank and she shoots at him. Hank tells her he can't die with a bullet. Also, Hank sees Danny, another Incarnate, who had stolen jewels from passerbys after killing them. Hank goes to kill Danny despite Shawl's pleading. Shawl decides to follow Hank to know why her father had to die. Episode 3. She follows him to a city where they meet Lisa. Lisa tells them about an Incarnate, the Minotaur, who still thinks enemies are after him, so he built a fortress. However, he built this fortress after destroying the homes of people living in the city. Shawl tries to convince them not to kill Minotaur. She claims that they could convince him not to destroy the city again. Lisa takes her to a refugee camp. She shows her how many people are now homeless because of the Minotaur's obsession with war. That night, as Hank is going to find the Minotaur, whose real name is Theo, Shawl follows him. She sees the skeleton of people who had died in booby traps, and Hank tells him Theo was a very sacred warrior. As Hank gets there, Theo unleashes all the ammunition he has prepared. Eventually, Hank shows his true self, the werewolf. He kills Theo, who returns to his normal self, and says he can now go without fear. Episode 4. Shawl travels on the train with Hank, and Lisa comes to tell them that an Incarnate Behemoth is heading towards the bridge faster than the trains. They have to kill him. The police have been using explosives, but it isn't working. That afternoon, while the officers shoot, Hank hits him by the back of his legs. He gets wounded, but keeps standing. Lisa tells Shawl that Behemoth hasn't been killing people, so he probably still has his humanity left. So Shawl begs Behemoth to turn, but he refuses. They attack him, and he gets wounded, but keeps moving. Shawl goes to ask Hank if he knows the reason the Behemoth wants to go there. Eventually, Hank destroys a part of the mountain to kill him. He tells Shawl that Behemoth wanted to see the sea. Episode 5. They know that Kane is seen in a city and they go there, but no human wants to speak with the military. That night, an Incarnate attacks some prostitute. A young boy who saw him reports it to Hank, who finds out the Incarnate is Gargoyle. Real name, Christopher. He takes them to the church Gargoyle is in, and Gargoyle tells him that if he wants justice, he should come to the church. He goes to fight Gargoyle, but Gargoyle has a god-killer bullet that Kane has given and got him. He gets his strength back and defeats Gargoyle, but Kane appears with another Incarnate, Elizabeth. They sedate Shawl and kidnap her, then give Hank an invitation asking him to save Shawl. Episode 6. He goes to the party and he meets some elites there. Kane tells them about starting the war again, and they decide he will help them. He releases the Incarnate at them and asks Hulk if those are the people that still have humanity. He asks Hulk to join him, but Hulk refuses. The military arrive, and they start attacking the Incarnates. They shoot Kane and remove his upper body, but he is a vampire Incarnate. He builds himself back and brings Shawl out and kills her. This angers Hulk. He changes into his original Incarnate form, the King of the Beasts, and starts destroying the city. Episode 7. Shawl recovers from the injury. During her interrogation, she finds out that Hank was stripped of his authority, and the military is searching for him as a result of what he did in the former city. She returns home, visits her father's grave, and finds out Lisa is around the military to kill an Incarnate. She offers to follow them. That night they meet the Incarnate, who turns out to be her father, who has been resurrected. He spits fire everywhere and attempts to go to the village. He has lost his humanity. Left with no choice, Shawl kills him. On the other hand, a group of people headed by Kane create a new country. Episode 8. The President orders the Incarnates to be killed within 3 months. His son, Claude, is the head of the team. As they wait for ammunition by the river, Shawl hears the sweet voice of a lady singing. He finds her in a cave, and a man, Charles, attempts to kill her. The singing lady is an incarnate Siren. Her voice puts people to sleep, thereby giving the other Incarnates the opportunity to kill during the war. Shawl introduces herself and they become friends. She meets Claude one day, who tells her his brother is Kane. One day, Charles goes to play and some villagers attack him. He returns and tells Siren to run. She runs away singing to ensure people sleep. The military attacks her and she enters a cave. Shawl goes to talk to her, but before the talk, the military shoots her down. Episode 9. While Hank wanders in the desert, he collapses in exhaustion. And Roy, who is incarnate Garm, comes to attack him, asking why he refuses to join Kane. Hank refuses to fight back, so Garm decides to wait till night, and Hank changes. The military sight the fight location and rush there even though Claude is weak. On Claude's sickbed, Shawl tells him being with humans retain Incarnate's humanity. They go to find the two Incarnates by the desert. That evening, Garm fights Hank again. Fortunately, the military arrives and starts shooting Garm. Amid the commotion, Hank falls off the mountain. Episode 10. Garm remembers his childhood and how Hank encouraged him during the battle. He walks away from the soldiers wounded, but they keep attacking him. He turns back to fight angrily, killing some of them and strangling the commander before Claude arrives with Lisa. On the other hand, Hank wakes after dreaming of Elaine. He sees Shawl and he's happy that she is alive. She tells him how she had to kill her father with her hands, and he also begs her to please kill him if he loses his humanity. Garm escapes to the waterside, where he meets Hank. Hank attempts to fight, but Shawl interferes and shoots Garm. To save Shawl, Hank changes to his true form and kills Garm. Before dying, Garm tells him he is the light that shuns everyone during their war. Episode 11. They learn that the Incarnates building the new Patria are a bold creek, and the President commands the force to join the officers around to fight. They go along with Shawl and Hank. They meet the commander of the other force, Commander Wall. They attack at night and they hit the guard, Incarnate Miles. But it turns out he's probably immortal. That night, they prepare for their next fight. Shawl tells Hank he is now a changed person and should come back alive. They go for the fight, and during the fight, one of them tells Miles that he is no longer a doctor. However, Miles insists he is a better doctor now that he fights. He remembers when he saved the people during the war, and they will still send him back to fight. But as an incarnate, people appreciate him, so that's its purpose. Episode 12. As Hank fights against Miles, Wall releases the deadly Abbey poison, killing Miles and some other armies. Kane arrives, fights Wall, and kills him before Hank comes. He tells Hank the humans he is fighting for aren't worth it, and Kane is trying to take control of South and East Patria. Kane fights Hank, he defeats him, but Shawl comes to help Hank. Looking at them, he remembers how jealous he was of Hank and Elaine and attempts to attack Shawl. Hank unveils a new version of a werewolf and defeats Kane, who leaves after finding he has taken over South and East Patria. The President calls back his troop. At the movie's end, Kane goes to talk to Elaine's body in the glass he kept her.